Good morning, my activated woman community. I'm going live. It's early. It's like 8 a.m. and it's Friday and it's sunny California, but it's kind of cold outside. And I just felt the passionate urge to go live, see if anybody's on here to join me, and if not, I'm just going to dive into the conversation so that it lives here on my page while we're sipping some black tea and honey and almond milk. So I'll give it a few minutes, see if anybody arrives, because we're going to be talking about fine-tuning your picker when it comes to the type of man that you allow into your life, that you attract into your life, and how to like begin to tell a couple of things from the beginning that may be red or green flags. And this conversation is, it's great. And it's so funny as a side note while I wait to see if anyone's going to join us. 10 out of 10 times. I have some mentors in my life and friends in my life, and I'll show them people like, oh, this person, let's say liked me on Hinge, or this person liked me on the League. I got off the League actually because it's kind of lame. But, or like, oh, this man wanted to talk to me or have a date with me, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell them intuitively it's a no. I can just tell who they are. And I always get that, you never know. You never know. You're being like a little judgy. You're being a little bit judgy. They could be amazing and just looking for just a girl like you. And it's funny because intuitively we know these things, and then we get the sounds and the voices in our head from not professionals, by the way, and you kind of are like, yeah, you're right. Like, I could give it a shot, and you don't trust yourself. And there's a difference between like actually like, oh, I'm uncertain and I'm going to be open to possibility. That's beautiful. But when you're like, I see this person and I'm like, I know that that's a no, like no matter how like handsome or hot or ripped or wealthy or whatever it is that they are, or like a good person that they seem to be, when your intuition is like, feels like a no, and we just don't trust ourselves. And so I just think I was reflecting on that this morning because I was looking at this guy on Hinge, and I was like, that's a no. And so-and-so popped into my head and was like, you don't know, give him a chance. He's very handsome, you're being judgy. And then at some point you just start to really trust yourself and your own instinct. So that was my little sidebar story, but relevant. So when it comes to your picker, is what I call it. It's actually what my grandmother calls it. She used to say, we need to fine tune your picker because you just keep picking, you know, like the playful. Like my thing was always like playful, fun, exciting, charismatic, charming, talented. Musical instrument is a plus, you know, like some sort of talent is a plus like that. And that was always my type before because it's what I am initially attracted to. But there's a reason for that because my inner little girl is attracted to that. When I exited my last relationship, I had this really interesting kind of like eye-opening moment where I realized that I'm a woman in my 30s, but I still feel attraction for that like boy band type of man. And that there's like a whole reason for this. There's a whole concept around a woman who's attracted to what is called a man-child. And it's because they're playful and charismatic and handsome and so much fun, and they love bomb you in the beginning, and you feel so good in their presence. You feel so loved. But you know, the thing about a man-child is that it's not consistent. They can't possibly stay that person who's like love bombing and obsessed with you and romancing you and all these things, and it's fleeting, right? So the reason why a woman would be attracted to a man-child type of archetype is because some sort of traumatic event happened in their life at a certain age, say 15, 11, 10, 16, you know, like kind of in that range, that would affect what they're attracted to or who they're attracted to. So for me, in a great instance is like my father died when I was 15 in a very traumatic and sudden way. And so at that time, there was a piece of my brain who kind of became frozen in time there, especially around men, where I was still into the boy band type, right? Like 15 was a little old for Aaron Carter at that time, like Aaron Carter was my first crush, like my first big celebrity crush. I had posters on my wall of him, and totally like touched myself for the first time to Aaron Carter, and his death actually hit me pretty hard because of that, maybe. It's just sad. But at that time, there was a piece of my brain that became frozen in time from that trauma, where I continued to want to find these playful, fun man-child types that would fulfill the need of 15-year-old me. And that was a realization I had to come to being single in my 30s for the first time, because I had been in a long-term relationship since my 20s. So learning how to fine-tune your picker and being able to understand, like, why do I choose the people I choose? What is it that attracts me about them? What is great about that? And then also what's unstable about that. I see someone's here watching. Say hello if you're here. We're having a fun conversation about fine-tuning your picker when it comes to who you allow into your life, who you attract into your life. So the man-child is one of those things where I found myself being very attracted to that, and I noticed that I was having a hard time being attracted to men, specifically like men in their later 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, when I'm 32, you know, and I was 31 when I was having this realization. But it's like, what is that? Like, why do I still feel like they're too old for me, but like this young, playful thing is still the thing for me, when I'm not actually getting the results that I want? And that's actually where I started to deep dive into this work even deeper, because I've always done this work, right? Like, I've always been that like a woman, feminine coach, love and success and pleasure, and I've always been that person. But when it comes to finding the person that is going to actually meet your needs as a feminine woman, when it comes to finding that man, that masculine, divine masculine archetype, I think that we have it a little bit flip-flopped, and it's a little bit confusing and a little bit nuanced, right? Because it's not tangible, you can't touch it. You know, it's still a made-up concept at some capacity or some level, right? Like, we understand like that there's yin and yang, and that is a universal truth, but we're kind of just going with the flow and creating as we go and realizing as we go and opening as we go. And one of the things I see the most is that women, we're falling into our masculine so heavily when we're picking a partner. And so if you're attracted to that very charismatic, playful type, the artist type, they're going to be more feminine, because they're so creative and in that creation, and they're in their own world, and they're creating, you know, their music career, their acting career, their artist career, their photography career, whatever it is that they're doing as an artist. And you will likely have to be the more solid one in the relationship, which means you will have to move towards them. So one of the things that I have my clients look for in the beginning now of dating is how likely are they, or how much are they coming to you, versus you having to go to them. You having to make the plans, you having to do the texts, you having to reach out. If you're the one who's having to do all this work and effort in the beginning, you've attracted another feminine partner, and you're going to hold the space for the masculine. And it's really important in early dating and in early creation, and this is not to say that it can't change when you're in relationship. It can, it's just a little bit harder, but it can change, especially when you have a great partner who's like open and willing to work on things, right? But in the beginning stages, you're setting a foundation for what your relationship is going to look like. So it's very important that you have these standards set in the beginning. So one of the things that I started doing, and I started having my clients do, is setting their dating app, if they're on a dating app, setting their range to be an hour to an hour and a half away from them. So like, I'm in West LA, hi Grace, I have my Hinge set to Orange County. And there's a reason for that, because I want to see how willing these people are to come to me, to make the moves to come to me, to make the plans to come to me, when it is clearly a challenge from the beginning. Because what that does is it does weed out the majority of them. But then what is left are really, really special, incredible people. And I've now been having just the best experiences, you know, like I have the best experiences of people sending me a Uber Black car to take me to them. You know, I've had experiences of like people driving in at rush hour multiple times a week to take me out, an hour and a half, that's a 2.5 hour drive at rush hour to take me out in my city, right, to make the effort, bringing me presents in my city, right? I'm doing all of this extra effort that shows me the type of man they are and how consistent they're going to be and how serious they are about being the type of man that I desire. And that's another thing too, is getting really, really clear about what you desire and how you desire to be treated. I think a lot of us get really attached to the who it's gonna be, like who's it gonna be, and this is the type of person I'm attracted to. But when we're open to receiving the really, really good, action, right? We're open to receiving really good action versus just really good words. Like I can hear, oh, you're beautiful, you're sexy, I wanna see you, blah, blah, blah. I can hear that all day, but if there's no action being taken, then I know that that's not the type of masculine man that's going to allow me to be all that I am. Also making yourself the prize, putting yourself on a pedestal, right? Like making sure that you understand that from the beginning, you make it a little bit hard on them and see what happens. You know, like you can say the wrong things and see what happens. I was on this date with this guy and he's lovely. And he was like, I'm just a really easygoing guy. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so high maintenance. I'm the worst. I'm so high maintenance. I expect so much out of people. He was like, really? You don't seem like that. I'm like, no, I do. I'm the worst. I'm not. I'm high maintenance. I am, but like not in like a superficial way, I suppose. I expect a lot. And I'm clear about that from the beginning to see if they can step up or not. Well, that man tonight is taking me to one of the most expensive steakhouses in Los Angeles. And again, he does not live here. So there's just like, there's so much available when you really give the men permission to rise with us, right? Instead of just handing everything to them on a silver platter. So if you have someone love bombing you in the beginning, being ultra feminine and charming and creative and just like totally all over the place, and you have to be the one reaching out to them, that's a huge red flag. It's fun, it's playful. You can enjoy it if you choose, but if you get too attached to them, then you're gonna end up heartbroken again. And that's not 100% all the time. Obviously, there's always exceptions to the rule, but these are things to look out for. You want someone who's going to be grounded and consistent and come towards you, listening to you, you know, really showing up in the way that you want them to, you want to be treated, right? Another one is, I started telling people my love language is gifts. Technically it's not, it's acts of service, but I could see how a gift could be acts of service, and I want to receive more in the dating world. So I tell my clients, tell them your love language is gifts and see how they show up. And more often than not, their love language is going to be physical touch because they're a man and men, like, they want to be touched. And when they bring thoughtful gifts to me, then I'll hold on to their arm when, you know, we're walking. And that's about as much, you know, sexual or intimate interaction, like physical interaction, that they're going to get from me, you know, because I understand that my body is a temple, my body is a sacred place, and you have to earn it. You have to earn the right to be here in this space with me, right? So by giving them these tasks, they're earning their space in your heart, in your body, in your life. They have to earn it, and men are hunters innately. So when we hand them things too easily and too freely, then they don't honor it, and they don't cherish it, and they don't respect it as much. And that is just the way it has always, always been. And in this era of feminism, right, like we really have taken the power back of I can do what I want, as I please. I can have sex as I want, as I please. And all of that is true. And it's empowering, and we get to do whatever we want for our body. Like I would never say, oh, it has to be 7 dates before you kiss someone. You know, like that is between you and your body and your worth, and you understanding your worth. But you do have to make them work for it, and you do have to make them earn it and prove that they will be good to you. And prove that they can be the one in the bedroom who's not just gonna like pound town and then not talk to you again, or pound town and then kind of like stay disrespectful in the bedroom. Like you want to be treated like a treasure, and you deserve to be. And the women who come to me are being treated like treasures because of what I'm teaching. So fine-tuning your picker in the beginning is so valuable, so that you can watch out for the type of man who's going to be flighty and inconsistent, even though they're fun and they're hot and they're all these things. You have to be able to know if you're looking for like a true partnership or true relationship, or to get married and have a family or something more serious, like true divine love. You have to understand that that flighty person, they're not there yet. They're not going to be ready to provide that for you, even if it lasts a year or 2 years or 3 years. You might really truly be putting yourself at risk for heartbreak at the end. Whereas when you fine tune your picker and you understand like how to weed out those types so that the divine masculine can really come into your life and open you up and blossom you like you've never been opened before, that is the most beautiful thing. And I'm having the best experiences, and my clients are having the best experiences, and just incredible men are fighting for the attention. Like the phrase that one of my clients and I keep using is, may the best man win. And they know it, and they like it, because they have to earn you. And then when they earn that prize, they're going to cherish it. Let me know if you thought this video was helpful. And just so you guys know, I do have my upcoming mastermind, the Muse Mastermind, coming in January. It's going to be this work, but 10 times more. You'll have direct access to me, direct access to a container of incredible, powerful women doing the same work 4 months long, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. If you're interested, drop me some emojis below, and I will text you or DM you or message you with a link to book a call. I love you. Thank you for being here. Grace loves you. She says thank you so much, and we'll see you guys later.